particular reaction. Oxygen is utilized by the organism for breaking of food material, and during this particular, when we break glucose, when we break when we break fatty acid, what is going to be formed? So we are talking about carbon dioxide. Okay, so yeah, we get energy. Okay, carbon dioxide, which is harmful to the. Oh my God. Dissolves in water. Yes, someone's voice is coming. Let us that please mute that. So what do you say? Dissolves in the water to form carbonic acid, which lowers the pH of the blood. That means when more carbon dioxide is formed over, that carbon dioxide is formed here, which is harmful to the particular this carbon dioxide. How does it is harmful? Dissolves in the water to form carbonic acid. That carbonic acid which lowers the pH. Agar more that if more carbon dioxide is formed, more that particular carbonic acid is going to be formed in the blood, and these particular decreasing levels of the pH of the blood threatens our body homeostasis. So talking about threatening of the body homeostasis. So simply we are talking about, so let me say here, how does we are correlating the issues here? How does we are correlating the issues? Let me say once again, just see this. So we said about the glucose. So what is glucose? Which will formed in the body after digestion. Okay. After digestion, glucose is formed. Do we get energy from the glucose directly? No. We require oxygen. For the breakdown of the glucose, we require oxygen. We are just showing this equation from the our childhood onwards. This equation is coming. Breakdown of glucose with the help of oxygen. So what we'll get? We get energy. So that energy which we are getting here used for various metabolic activities. So if we start here for the life, for the various metabolic activities are required. For the life process, various metabolic activities are required. For various metabolic activities, a required thing is energy. Energy is required for various metabolic activity. Then energy will come from a coordinating work of glucose and oxygen. This is what I want to say. This about the glucose we discussed in the previous chapter, digestion and absorption. It will come after digestion of carbohydrate. Then it will come by a respiratory system. And what is the involvement of circulatory system? In both cases, the transport of glucose to the cells, where all these things are happening at cells. So transport of the glucose to the cells, transport of oxygen to the cells is involved by our circulatory system. So that means you need to understand the correlation and coordination of these particular systems in our body, these particular systems in our body. So with these, we need to understand we require glucose continuously because metabolic activities continuously occurs in our body. That means we require glucose continuously, we require oxygen continuously, we are going to form carbon dioxide continuously. That the elimination of the carbon dioxide, intake of oxygen, intake of glucose is over now. Digestion chapter we have discussed how we take food and how we do digest. So now in this chapter, intake of oxygen and how to exit that particular carbon dioxide. So accumulating carbon dioxide in our body is so dangerous, as I said to you, see here, which is harmful because when this carbon dioxide is levels is increased in the blood, in the body, so that is going to be a little bit dangerous. So this is our chapter, not entering the chapter here till the time. Just we are talking about what is the necessity actually. What is the necessity of these particular oxygen transport, carbon dioxide transport? What is the necessity? That only we are discussing here. Okay. So then with this officially we can enter into the chapter respiration. Respiration. So respiration is a vital feature of life. Now I can say confidently, after this much introduction, respiration is a vital feature of life, we can say, isn't it? So, what is respiration? There is a wide meaning. The process of exchange of oxygen, the process of exchange of oxygen from the process of exchange of oxygen from the medium. Who is the medium for human being? Air. For aquatic organism, medium is water, either air or water, whatever it may be. Medium, that with carbon dioxide, we take oxygen, we eliminate carbon dioxide, which is formed in our body. In that activity, how does it is formed? That also I am just shown now. So this is the process of exchange of oxygen from the medium at which may be air or water with carbon dioxide produced by the cells at the same time. The cells at the same time is called carbon dioxide produced by who produce the carbon dioxide? That cells produced by the cells at the same time is called breathing. We call this particular process as breathing. Okay, the process of exchange of oxygen from the medium with carbon dioxide produced by the cells at the same time is called breathing. Okay, so generally breathing, the process of gaseous exchange, external respiration or ventilation, that they consider it as a particular respiration. Okay, so that we need to give some clarity here that what is respiration, what is ventilation, so that we have to give some clarity. Generally, intake of air from atmosphere, air from atmosphere to lungs, and from lungs to atmosphere. Do you say what it is? Air from atmosphere. We call this process as ventilation. Yeah, you can say breathing. Ventilation, or we can say breathing. So we are correlating all these things in one particular place. So that accurate definition means process of leading to and including the chemical breakdown of food material to provide energy for life is called respiration. Actual definition. Generally, this is ventilation actually. This is not called respiration. So what is respiration? Exactly if you want to say what is respiration. What is respiration? Respiration, we can say that the process of that process which leads to including the chemical breakdown of the food material. That means like this, the C6H12O6 breakdown in the presence of oxygen. You might have seen over so many times I'm using this. This is actually called respiration. This process gives energy to us. This is actually called respiration, true respiration, or you can call it as cellular respiration. This is even called cellular respiration. Actually, according to some authors, this is itself real respiration, true respiration. Okay. So, and we have another name. We are using oxygen. That's why we can call it as aerobic respiration also. We can say this as aerobic respiration also. Okay. Then let me continue. If I say aerobic respiration, that I have to show anaerobic respiration also. What is the difference between the aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration? That I have to show. You might know before, you might have learned over in cell biology, but here also we need to see. If I ask you, is there any possibility of anaerobic respiration in case of human being?
Yes, sir.
Where?
While doing vital exercises.
Very good, very good. Okay, what is aerobic respiration?
The presence of oxygen.
Yeah, presence of oxygen. Okay. So this is aerobic respiration. Then anaerobic respiration include only one, that is glycolysis. See the difference? Glycolysis, only one. So you have to understand these two processes require oxygen, and these two processes are going to happen in mitochondria. So here there is an involvement of mitochondria. So here there is no involvement of mitochondria. So what is the end product of glycolysis?
Pyruvic acid.
Yeah.
Pyruvic.
That's why we can say here, wherever the pyruvic acid is getting formed, and thereafter pyruvic acid will convert into lactic acid. All these reactions we are going to see in case of muscles. We are going to see all these reactions in case of muscles that will come. You will get here. We don't want anaerobic respiration done by other microorganisms. We are talking about human being. That's why I'm showing here that if oxygen is not available, oxygen not available, oxygen available, aerobic respiration. Oxygen available, aerobic respiration. If oxygen not available, there is a possibility of anaerobic respiration in our muscle, that we say their end product is lactic acid, which is the conversion of the pyruvic acid. Just keep this in mind. We are going to get this in the coming classes. I mean, muscle contraction, we are going to discuss this. Okay. Then next. About the respiratory organs. Need to discuss about respiratory organs of the various organisms. Then after we'll enter into the human being. Then after only we'll enter into the human being. So discussing about the respiratory organs, we need to start from respiration from, because it's our formality that we need to discuss each and every organism respiration. If you talk about unicellular organisms like protozoans, did you remember what type of respiration happened there? Is there any special respiratory organs? No special respiratory organs. Yes. Okay, I don't ask questions then. Those who have problem, I request please don't unmute yourself, or check that another device, try to enter in another device. So in protozoans, diffusion, I'll go in order here. In porifera, sponges, if you remember, we use a canal system for diffusion itself. No matter, there is a special system called canal system for respiratory gaseous exchange, diffusion, and there is a help of canal system you can see there. Okay. Next, when you say Coelenterata, nothing but Cnidaria. In Coelenterata also, there is no special respiratory organ. Diffusion is going to be the choice. So let me go to the next page. Respiratory organs. In respiratory organs, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, same. So that's why let me go for phylum Platyhelminthes. We know that phylum Platyhelminthes and Nematoda are famous for parasites. That's why anaerobic respiration also possible in some parasites. So we'll say first of all that issue. Anaerobic respiration is possible in some parasites. Not in all, like our Ascaris lumbricoides of Nematoda. So in Platyhelminthes and also in Aschelminthes or Nematoda, we can say here in both cases, anaerobic respiration. In some parasites, anaerobic respiration is possible. And here also we can say in both cases, respiration occurs through diffusion. No special respiratory organs are present in both Platyhelminthes and Aschelminthes. Now let's talk about that next phylum, Annelida. That if you say Annelida, in Annelida, earthworm. First of all, earthworm. That means when we say Annelida, immediately our earthworm will come in our mind, isn't it? So if you see the earthworm, that cuticle should be always moist and respiration occurs through the cuticle, we say. So cuticle should be always moist. The moistness of the cuticle is required for respiration. So we can say cuticle is a respiratory organ. Okay, next. In case of Annelida itself, we have Nereis. When you see the Nereis, sandworm we say. In case of Nereis, there are some special respiratory organs are present, which I have to give the remembrance of them. We call them as parapodia. Para, aside, poda, food. These parapodia are going to be the respiratory organs. So parapodia, interestingly, they have setae also. That setae helpful for locomotion and the rich vascularization. They act like gills. The gills, parapodia acting like gills. Okay, so just remember the name, parapodia, a phylum Annelida, if you want to remember, with due respect to the animal name, Nereis. In our earthworm, the respiration is going to be cuticle. Okay, next, moving on. Phylum Arthropoda. If you see the phylum Arthropoda, in phylum Arthropoda, respiration occurs through tracheal system. Now only I said about the special system called tracheal system. In case of insects and some arthropods, insects, that chylopods and diplopods. In case of Chilopoda and Diplopoda, that now there is no need to remember examples here. The tracheal system in Arthropoda, and next, along with this, in our aquatic arthropods are having gills even, like plants and crops. In them we can see the gills as a respiratory organs. So aquatic arthropods are having gills as a respiratory organs. And the one more speciality that spiders in this arthropoda itself, the spiders will come here itself. The spiders and scorpions. In them, we can see book lungs, respiratory organs, which look like an open book. We can say book lungs, appear like, yeah, no, Limulus is having book gills. Limulus, king crab is having book gills. So by the shape, we have to say them as like that. So that means we may have more questions in this particular area. Book lungs, book gills, trachea, and speciality of trachea. We are seen in the now only we are seeing that particular speciality of trachea. So all these issues. These, yeah. Okay. Yes, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Next, we'll discuss about the phylum Mollusca. If you see phylum Mollusca, snails are having lungs even. So simply we can say here aquatic are having gills. Their special name we have in the gills in case of mollusca. We say Ctenidia. And terrestrial one are having lungs even. Then Echinodermata. We can say in case of starfish, if you take dermal papillae are present. Dermal papillae. I'm not writing individual animals, just diffusion even we can see. Okay, then after that, hemichordata. That hemichordata onwards, we'll see the gills. Means hemichordata is the end, we can say that invertebrates end, non-chordates end. And from here onwards, we need to start chordata, urochordata, cephalochordata. It's our formality here in the human physiology. Before we enter into the topic, when we start circulatory system, we need to list out all the circulations of each and every animal of our previous. Who is our previous animal? From protozoa onwards till that monkeys, all are our previous. So it's formality for us. Before we see our respiratory system, we need to talk about all the remaining. Okay, so Urochordata, Cephalochordata. He is having gills in it. That gills are present. That Urochordata, gills are present. In Cephalochordata, particularly if you say the process in Urochordata, we'll discuss about the gills, and Cephalochordata, diffusion even going to happen here. Next, fishes, that we know all of them. We can say here in case of fishes, gills are the respiratory organs. Amphibians, anyone? Yeah, all this we can say vertebrates, isn't it? Vertebrates.
Amphibian skin.
Yeah.
Cuticle.
Cutaneous.
Yeah. Vertebrates, amphibians, we can say very good. Cutaneous respiration. And some of the amphibians are even having gills as a respiration. Our frog in larval stages, gills only they have.
Lungs
Next,
in land.
reptiles. Reptiles is mammals. Reptiles is mammals. Okay, in reptiles is mammals. What we can say in reptiles, aves and mammals? Respiration with the help of lungs, and we call it as pulmonary respiration. Pulmonary respiration. Okay. So that's it. So then we got eligibility, the ticket to enter into the human respiratory system. We have seen till the time the usage, utility, that advantage of respiratory system and various kinds of respiratory systems in the different organisms, how it is going to be, all that we have seen. Then now we have eligibility to go with human respiratory system. Okay, that we'll discuss in the next class. We start human respiratory system from the next class.